organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, yet another hawk alert was issued Wednesday morning. Find out what the alarm was all about.
Plus, Iowa City may become the latest place to install red light cameras. Find out what was discussed at Tuesday night's City Council meeting.
And in sports, see how two-time defending Big Ten Player of the Week Sam Logic will stack up against Northwestern's tough guard play.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
From Studio 151, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan, this is Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks for tuning in to your Wednesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Brad Maxwell.
And I'm Allie Wright. The university issued a hawk alert about an armed person at City Park around 10:15 Wednesday morning. The message said, quote, "Report of armed suspect in City Park. Remain indoors and away from the area," end quote. The alert was canceled at around 10:45 and authorities announced that they captured the suspect in Washington County around 12:30 Wednesday afternoon. This is the second hawk alert the university has issued this year.
Students are becoming increasingly aware of the possible threat of violent incidents on campus. So in case such an event was to happen, the Department of Public Safety is holding violent incident training classes to prepare staff and students. Daily Iowan TV's Christina Targos sat in on one of the classes to find out what should be done in a violent situation.
Violent incident training classes have been happening at universities all over the country to help prepare students for such an event, and the University of Iowa is no exception. The Department of Public Safety is teaching classes to UI faculty and students on the best actions for survival. The class is based on ALICE, an acronym for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. These are a flexible set of rules that can be applied to any violent situation. Captain Sharp and Officer Pop, two University of Iowa police officers, used real-life accounts from victims of the Virginia Tech shooting to bring these rules into perspective of how useful they really are. And to teach these rules, they would act out dangerous situations to show their students the most ideal ways to act in order to survive. After acting out a dangerous situation, they would go through ways to stop that kind of attack, like how to barricade a door with objects in the room. And according to Captain Sharp, this program has been extremely effective.
We have taught definitely over 2,000 people, and many of them feel that it should be mandatory for everyone in the university.
These violent incident training classes are offered all the way through July, and special sessions can also be scheduled. Christina Targos, Daily Iowan TV.
Iowa City drivers will soon be on camera after the Iowa City City Council passed an ordinance to allow their development Tuesday night. Though Mayor Matt Hayek and councilors Rick Dobbins, Terry Dickens, and Susan Mims voted in favor of the ordinance, City Councilor Connie Champion voted no on all three considerations.
State safety officials are calling for tighter legislation for teen drivers following an increase in teen driver fatalities this year. Officials say they want more passenger restrictions and driving timeframes through legislation following 12 fatalities of 16 and 17-year-olds in 2011, up from 7 fatalities in 2010. State safety officials are now calling for more passenger restrictions and driving timeframes. Check out Thursday's print edition of the Daily Iowan for a more in-depth look at this issue. Still to come on Daily Iowan TV, the rate of meth busts are rising around the nation. We'll tell you where Iowa ranks.
I'm here at Carver Hawkeye Arena, where I talk to the Iowa women's basketball team who look to finish the season strong and continue their winning ways.
But first, let's check in with Muriel Kone to get a look at your weather forecast.
Well, Allie, we will see a slight change in morning temperatures come Thursday with an 80% chance of snow and rain, with a temperature of around 39 degrees. Temperatures should rise up a few degrees going into the afternoon, but make sure you have something to cover your head with because there's a 70% chance of rain. But in the evening, temperatures will only be a few degrees cooler than what it was in the morning. Looking to the rest of the week, expect highs in the mid and upper 30s on Friday and Saturday with partly cloudy skies on Friday and a bit of sun come Saturday. There will be an almost 10 degrees jump in temperature from Saturday going into Sunday with a high of 48 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Come Monday and Tuesday, however, we will see a dip in temperatures with highs in the upper 20s and lower 30s. But Wednesday will come with more warmer temps and sunny skies. So back to you guys.
A federal advisory panel is now encouraging all U.S. adults to get the whooping cough vaccination. On Wednesday, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted to expand its recommendation to everyone 65 or older who haven't already been vaccinated. The vaccination has been available for children since the 1940s, but the adult vaccination was not licensed until 2005. Whooping cough is a highly contagious bacterial infection and in rare cases can be fatal. The adult vaccination protects against tetanus and diphtheria as well as whooping cough. The cost is about $35.
It's been just 3 years since the Iowa River flooded its banks, jeopardizing the Iowa City water supply. Daily Iowan TV's Josh Bolander tells you just how far the city has come.
On dreary, overcast days like today, the Iowa River is quiet. The bare tree branches sway in the wind, the occasional leaf flutters across the river's edge, and the water on the river's bank sits still and calm. It's a far cry from the scene just outside of New Orleans late last week, when a barge collision led to another oil spill in Mississippi, forcing authorities to close down a 5-mile stretch of waterway to prevent the spreading of water contamination. While the portion of the Iowa River that runs through Iowa City doesn't support the same type of commercial traffic that the Mississippi does because of shallow waterways and low bridge lines, a contamination of the river's water through any means could be devastating to the city's drinking water supply. Why? According to Iowa City officials, nearly 60,000 people were served through the city's water treatment facility, which delivers drinking water through just over 25,000 service connections. 3,226 hydrants would also be directly affected if complications to the city's water supply came into question. Obviously, Iowa City and the state of Iowa are no stranger to dealing with these types of complications. The 2008 floods filled rivers across Iowa with unwanted debris. But according to consumer confidence and water quality reports obtained by Daily Iowan TV, Iowa City drinking water does not violate any conditions involving microbiological, inorganic, VOC, and SOC disinfectants.
Recently used FEMA grants and the passing of the River Bill of Rights shows Iowa City isn't just making progress, they're creating solutions. From the banks of the Iowa River, I'm Josh Bolander, Daily Iowan TV.
Meth lab busts were up nationwide in 2011, and Iowa ranked as one of the top states in busts. Missouri topped the list with 2,096 labs, and Jefferson County alone, which is near St. Louis, had more busts than Texas, Florida, and California combined. Missouri has topped the list 8 of the past 9 years, while Iowa was at the number 7 spot in 2011 with 382 seizures.
And now we'll take a look at some of the top headlines from around the world. At least 40 people are dead and more than 550 have been injured in a train crash that took place in Argentina's capital city Wednesday morning. Witnesses said that the train didn't slow down as it plowed into a station platform, and authorities believe it was a problem with the brake system. The train, which was packed with passengers, was traveling at about 16 miles per hour when it crashed.
And at least 5 people have been killed in Afghanistan when protests erupted following the burning of Qurans on a U.S. military base. U.S. Afghani protesters saw this as a concerted move to disrespect Afghan culture and Islam. An investigation is underway for why the Qurans were burned in the first place, but U.S. officials say that it was not deliberate.
And Fat Tuesday marked the beginning of Lent on the Catholic calendar, making today Ash Wednesday. One church in suburban Cincinnati is accommodating its parishioners by offering a drive-through Ash Wednesday service. The church will also be offering traditional services for those who want their ash fix.
Well, Brad, it sounds like that was certainly a time saver.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Well, it looks like Iowa City is hosting more Big Ten swimming events this weekend. Let's go to Daily Iowan TV's Nick Robertson for your Hawkeye Sports Update.
That's right, guys. The eyes of the Big Ten will be on Iowa City for most of the weekend, but the Big Ten men's swimming and diving teams jumped off to the starting blocks today to kick off the championships at the Campus Wellness and Recreation Center. Stop by our website, dailyiowan.com, for our extensive coverage and nightly video recaps of the number 4 Hawkeye swimming team, along with the rest of the Big Ten. We will be there tonight until the tournament wraps up on Saturday night. And moving to women's basketball, fans may have thought Iowa's season was over when they found out senior Jamie Prenti would be out for the season. But 1 month later and 2 games to go in the regular season, Daily Iowan TV's Kyle Hughes tells us how it's possible for a top 4 Big Ten finish.
The Iowa women's basketball team has won 6 straight, and despite losing star guard Jamie Prenti, the Hawks are playing some of their best basketball of the year.
Every player has risen, and that's exactly what you have to have happen when one player that is so significant like Jamie goes down, is that everybody has to raise the level of their game. You all know that when it happens, but rarely do you see everybody buying into it and really doing it, and this team has.
And while there may only be 2 regular season games left, there's still a lot at stake for the Hawks, who can finish anywhere between 3rd and 7th in the Big Ten standings.
We have a great chance, you know, out of 3, and probably definitely a 4 if we win both. To get that first day off at the Big Ten tournament is huge, just so you only play, I think, 3 days in a row instead of 4. Absolutely huge.
The Hawkeyes travel to Northwestern tomorrow before they wrap things up on Sunday against Michigan on what is sure to be an emotional senior day.
You know, to say goodbye to those players is extremely tough. Obviously, a win over Michigan would make it a little bit more happier occasion, and that's what the plan is, but it's always very difficult to see that senior group say goodbye to the crowd after the game.
From Carver Hawkeye Arena, reporting for Daily Iowan TV Sports, I'm Kyle Hughes.
And staying with women's basketball, tomorrow's game against Northwestern will not only be a tough matchup, but a competitive game between 2 of the conference's top freshman guards. Iowa Sam Logic and Wildcats Morgan Jones have pretty good resumes so far. Logic has been named Big Ten Freshman of the Week for the 2nd consecutive week and was also named Big Ten Co-Player of the Week. But Jones takes the crown on this one with 4 Big Ten Freshman of the Week awards. So what can we expect to see tomorrow? Let's take a look at some of their stats this season. Jones is leading the way in average points per game at 14.5, while Logic is close behind with 8.7. However, Logic's shooting percentage is much higher, so although Jones leads her team in field goal attempts, she isn't as efficient as Logic. And with the number of rebounds and assists they are putting up, it's no surprise that the team's freshman classes are both ranked in the top 15. In their last meeting back in December, Jones had double the points of Logic, but it was the Hawkeyes who cruised to an easy 86-55 win. But don't expect tomorrow's game to be based on one player alone, as both teams have good supporting casts. Warmer weather is always a good sign that baseball and softball are coming back to Iowa City. Unfortunately, that time is still a ways away. But for now, the 2 teams will have to settle for playing in warm weather tournaments around the country. This weekend, the softball team heads to Palm Springs, California to play in the Cathedral City Classic. The Hawks will start things off on Friday against Fresno State and Oregon State, then play Cal State Northridge on Saturday, then close their weekend off on Sunday with a game against LIU Brooklyn. So guys, even though the team isn't competing at home, they can't really complain about where they're playing in the meantime.
You think they have any open seats on the plane?
Maybe if you're lucky.
Oh, let's hope so. But on a less bright note for Hawkeye sports, former Hawkeye and football track athlete Paul Cheney Jr. was arrested in Iowa City early Wednesday morning on suspicion of drunken driving charges. Cheney allegedly ran a red light at the intersection of Burlington and Clinton, had a blood alcohol content of .183. Cheney was also listed as a wide receiver for the Cedar Rapids Titans indoor football team, but he was cut earlier in the week for unrelated reasons. And before we leave you tonight, check this out. While some were boozing it up on Fat Tuesday, others were fattening themselves up. Eddie's Bakery in Connecticut hosts its annual Punch Key Eating Contest. These traditional Polish donuts are about 400 calories apiece, and Joe Manchetti gobbled down a dozen in 5 minutes to claim the $200 grand prize. This is his 9th victory in a row.
I'm sure you had a pretty bad stomachache after that one.
Yeah, I know, I couldn't do it.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into Thursday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about how local businesses are benefiting from a switch to energy-efficient light bulbs.
Plus, read about how one Iowa legislator wants to abolish Iowa's Department of Education.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime at dailyiowan.com. Thanks for watching and have a great night.